Techno update. Subscribe now.
Huawei P10 Plus Review. Design. Huawei has been improving its basic design for some time now, tweaking its formula with every release rather than starting afresh each time. The P10 Plus continues in this vein, but with useful changes to keep it from feeling stale. It's clear that the design influence here is the iPhone 7. It isn't unusual to see Android phones that resemble Apple's flagship, but the P10 Plus takes it up a notch. From the matte black color scheme, to the curved sides and flat back, the P10 Plus is almost a dead ringer for the iPhone 7. Unoriginality aside, I'm not complaining too much about this. The P10 Plus feels great to hold. It's thin, light, and even with its 5.5-inch display I can comfortably grip the device in one hand. Initially, some may find that completely flat rear a little slippery, but you'll quickly get used to it. Display. At times, the Huawei's display is one of my most favorite things about the P10 Plus, but it's also the phone's biggest weakness. In terms of resolution and quality, it excels. The 5.5-inch LCD IPS Neo panel with a Quad HD, 2560 by 1440, resolution looks superb. It doesn't quite offer the inky blacks and saturated colors of an AMOLED panel, featured in the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, for example, but it isn't far off. The use of an IPS panel also means the P10 Plus lacks support for Daydream VR. Performance. The internal components of the Huawei P10 Plus are similar to those in 2016's Mate 9, and they're just as impressive. The Kirin 960 processor is a real winner, and easily the quickest and most efficient of any previous high-silicon chipset. It tops the Snapdragon 821 in general use and is likely more comparable with the upcoming Snapdragon 835, which will sit inside the Samsung Galaxy S8. The P10 Plus offers 6GB of RAM, that's 2GB more than the regular P10 and the LG G6 and Samsung Galaxy S7, but the same as the OnePlus 3T, and while more RAM is nice to have, it isn't a necessity. I tend to use around 2.5GB to 3.5GB of RAM at a time, so I'm not inclined to get too excited by Huawei's generous inclusion here. Software. Huawei's hardware has been good for a few years, but it's only in past 6 months that it's managed to bring its software onto a similar level. EMUI, that's Huawei's layer that sits atop Android, used to be a reason to avoid the P series altogether, but that's no longer the case. Camera. The basics remain the same in both cameras. Each has a dual camera layout, with a 20-megapixel monochrome sensor and a 12-megapixel RGB version with optical image stabilization. Having a higher megapixel monochrome sensor allows the capture of far more detail and greater light, without sacrificing speed and efficiency of the color sensor.